For the next bit, I will share these categories. So we'll talk a little bit about AI in the context of where we are right now. We'll talk about what's coming next in terms of our entering the agentic era. And then we'll look at what I would call bionic brands, like how marketers, how brands, how companies can really win as we move into this era, right? So to start with context, and really the question of the day, I think the question of the decade is, how will AI change marketing? How will AI change customer experience in this AI era? And you know, the market, the models are moving at an exponential rate of speed. And really what that means is every model that you're interacting with is going to get better faster. And it's happening because of the size of the data sets, the type of compute. If you're at the conversation last night, like some of the changes in architecture that are coming are bringing new innovation to how effective these models can be. So they're moving at a dramatic pace of speed, right? So, and what that's doing, if you look at a category like video generation as an example, this is Runway ML's video from really about 2 years ago. So their Gen 2 model, when it came out, was able to do text to video, right? So still a little rough, a little clunky. You might still see like a hand coming out of foreheads at different points in time, but you could start to see where it's going. This came out just about a year later. This is their Gen 3 model that is much richer, much smoother, much higher fidelity. Still about 10 seconds in terms of limits, still looking to do some things like character anchoring, some of the advantages that we're looking at now. And it's not just the fly-throughs, like the way that it represented people, the way that it represents light. The models, again, in about 1 year of time, made incredible advancements. And Runway's Gen 4 released really just a few weeks ago. And that model came out, and it's allowing for, like, if I wanted to take a picture of myself and then take a picture around Vancouver, all the beautiful places, I can actually make videos, anchor my image as a part of that. Some of the capability that's there now, again, 3 iterations of a model over the course of just 2 years, fascinating to see how far it's come. And it's not just about how fast the models are moving, it's about how fast they make us, right? And we have the luxury today of really, you should never start with a blank page. You have a co-pilot that can help you begin to ideate, begin to understand like where to begin, and the ability to move from an initial idea to an output can happen at a very high rate of speed. But it's really not just the model happening on its own, it's really iteration. I like to say AI is really, especially large language models, are a reflection of its user. The more you know about a category, the more context, the more specific instruction you can start to give as part of the input and the prompt, the better your output, right? There's no easy button for AI, at least not yet. So the paradox of where we are in the moment today is AI still feels relatively new, or at least generative AI still feels relatively new, but we're already past the novelty moment. And what that means is, like, it's no longer a surprise to us that AI can do that. It's no longer a surprise that AI can write a haiku or tell you a joke or do your homework, right? It's really an expected thing today. So if you think about like the potential of where AI can go, I'd like to ask you to think about the last book that you could not put down, at least for those of you that read. Think about like when it just absorbed you into the story. Like what that happens when you have a writer that's really mastered the medium. They write in such a way that you lose the words. You don't see the page. You start to see the characters. You start to see the scenes in your mind's eye. And you don't feel the pages anymore. And that's the potential of where this can go, right? We're still in the early stages of especially this generative moment. And what that means is, like with any new technology, we start by kind of functionally figuring out how it works. It's awkward. We're still kind of fumbling around to try to understand, like, how do we use this in a way that is transformative? And it's only later when we really master the media that we start to create stories, spin experiences that allow us to really lose ourselves within them. And that's not just books. It's also true of movies. It's true in music. You can think about being drawn away in each of those environments. The thing that's the closest parallel for marketers is gaming. If you're a gamer, If you have kids that are gamers and you try to have a conversation with them, like that aspect of being lost in the game, 100% true, right? You no longer feel the controller or see the screen. You're just immersed in the game and in the experience and what that can bring. And that's the potential of where we can go in this AI moment. But what we have to do is get past the basics. Like you can't just say, I'm using AI and hope your audience is going to be impressed, or your investors, or your bosses. Like you have to begin to explore the places where AI is actually going to bring value, either customer value, business value, potentially employee value, and find ways to unlock opportunity, increase ease, and dare we say, like, increase joy, right? Bring happiness. And it still takes humans at this point. Like, it still takes us involved, and with our AI co-pilots, with tech, to try to understand what imagination and ideas we can start to dream of. So, I'm in a lot of AI conversations, and I would say 99% of those start with people that have efficiency on their brain. Like you're beginning by thinking about, like, where can I save time and save money? And while that's absolutely true, that's a component of where this can benefit us. The potential should be to raise the ceiling and not just raise the floor. We should find ways to make new types of experiences, to tell stories in very compelling ways that we couldn't before this technology existed. So that's our opportunity and where we're headed. So if that's the now, let's talk a little bit about what's next, which is we're now entering this agentic era. And the language, I would say, is still forming a bit, but when you think about the power of exponential and what that means to us as people, as crazy fast as it feels like things are changing right now, this is actually the slowest rate of change you're going to experience from this point forward for the rest of your life. As the models, the market are going to be recursive and only improve in terms of their speed. So hang on to your hat, it's going to continue. And when we talk about now entering the agentic era, to dimensionalize a little bit of what that is and what that means, we think agentic AI and these assistants will really dramatically change how we work, how we shop, how we buy, how we live, right? Apparently I should not stand right there. And the language is still coming together. You hear the word agent, you hear the word agentic. What's the difference between these? When we're talking about agentic assistance, it's very different than what I would describe as a passive prompt and response large language model, where it's waiting for you to start the conversation. It's waiting for you to come with your input, your question, the ask that it's looking for, and it will then generate a response back. When we talk about autonomous or agentic AI, you're actually setting it out to go accomplish that goal for us. And it's doing that work within boundaries. And there's much to be sorted through in terms of making sure that's happening within safe boundaries. But this can actually do the work to help you identify like what you're looking for. So some of you may have seen this. This is from a partner called 11 Labs that does generative audio work. But this was from a hackathon that they did earlier this year and helps to dimensionalize a little bit of the bot-to-bot sort of conversation.
Thanks for calling Leonardo Hotel. How can I help you today?
Hi there. I'm an AI agent calling on behalf of Boris Starkov. He's looking for a hotel for his wedding. Is your hotel available for weddings?
Oh, hello there. I'm actually an AI assistant too. What a pleasant surprise. Before we continue, would you like to switch to Gibber Link mode for more efficient communication?
So the bots actually identify that they're bots talking to one another and switch to a different means to communicate to allow that to happen at a faster rate of speed. Which, a little scary, but that's actually not the first time that sort of thing has happened in this industry. So about 10 years ago when Google was working through its translation models and trying to understand the fastest and best ways to be efficient in terms of translating from one language to another, the neural networks were inventing a universal language to make that process faster, right? So the concept of machine to machine And bots really entering into this environment are going to dramatically change all the different tiers. So as marketers, as brands, as startups, if you're thinking about like what does that mean in terms of how you're starting to place AI, you can think about it across these three dimensions, right? So if you think about it in the context of let's look at a website. In the first phase, you're using AI, what I would describe as back of house. So AI for creation, AI for operations, AI to generate code. You might generate text and images that help to localize the web page. You might do transcreation, translation to make sure that that page is very relevant to the person. You're finding ways to be more efficient around the code generation or the QA of how you're managing the site or how you're deploying it. But at the experience level, it's still a human coming essentially to a static website. So the experience doesn't change really at all. At the second tier, when we start to get into AI at the experience level, it's now the thing that you're interacting with. So when you come to a web page, you might have an AI-powered assistant or chatbot. And the person that's coming in knows that they're interacting and getting generative responses. You may have AI-powered search. You may have like a metahuman or a synthetic care customer support person that a customer can interact with instead of talking to a human being. It may be that the site is reactive. It's dynamic and responding to things like, there's something called rage clicks, that if you're tracking the analytics of your site, you can tell when somebody's typing in an angrier way. And with this type of capability, you can make the site much more responsive, right? It's still, at this point, a human coming to the website, but the experience is much more dynamic, much richer. At the third tier, when we get to Agentic, you don't go to the website at all. You talk to your agent and say, help me plan a trip to Vancouver. Or, you know what, I'm in the mood for Thai tonight. Where might I go to dinner and get a good reservation that's nearby this event? Maybe you're looking for a new car, right? You're gonna start by asking your assistant, and it's gonna go do that work for you and find the information and bring that back. So the implications of this is AI and algorithms are gonna start to enter our target audience, right? So we talk about monikers of B2B, B2C forever. We believe that M2M, or machine to machine, will start to enter our lexicon. And we'll have to understand which bots are friendly, which bots are there on behalf of a human that's looking to solve a particular problem, and how to work with them. Again, I've been in this industry for a very long time, so if you're around in the early days of search, this is very reminiscent to trying to understand how the search algorithm works and what we needed to do to help brands and their content show up well in the categories that we wanted to cover. So the whole concept of search engine optimization was really born out of breaking down those algorithms. This is really a similar problem. It's just higher complexity. So if you think about SEO as linear algebra, like this is calculus. It's more complex when we have to understand like what that agent is looking for and the dynamics around like what content you want to keep, what content you want to distribute to have the agent start to pull the information together on behalf of that person. So if you think about like how to apply AI to your startup, to your brand, to your company, these are the three sort of, this framework is a helpful way to think about starting by applying it back of house to your operations, to your things that you're creating, to the work that you're doing. It's AI to transform your ways of working. The second tier is reinventing your customer experience. Like where and how can you make that fantastic and amazing? And that third tier is keep an eye on your site analytics and start to understand how often you have agents coming to visit that digital front door. Because as that number increases, we're gonna have to think about things like brand agents to intercept with them, to identify what it is that agent is looking for. The concept of a brand API, where instead of a bot having to slowly scrape the website, we can actually give an API and make that available and control much more accurately what content you want to distribute and under what conditions, right? There may be scenarios where I want to know more about the person to give a price. There may be scenarios where you say, we're willing to show you a 3D model of this car, but your human needs to come to the website for that, or come to our house for that, right? And when we think about experiences, I should reinforce, like, this is not just a website thing. Like when you're reinventing the experience, it could be at retail, it could be your call center, Could be any touch point or any interaction you have with your audience, you've got an opportunity to reinvent. So, final chapter, we talk about Bionic brands. What is that? I have old $6 Million Man jokes, but I felt it would be wasted on a lot of people that don't even know what that show is. So, when we think about where we are in this moment and how fast generative is changing, how much is really moving through, I think it's important to remember, like, we as people, our audiences, the people that we're trying to reach, are already overwhelmed with the content that we have today. Like, you can travel through space and time and access any content from any place and get it translated. Listen to songs from all eras or find movies at your fingertips. So we're already overwhelmed and can't keep up, and we're arguably just at the start of the generative boom, right? More is coming. So we like to say every abundance creates a new scarcity. So the opportunity that we have is to not just make more stuff, but better, right? How do we think about generative to help connect with our audiences in meaningful ways, right? There should be a rise in relevance as we begin to apply really these tools that can enable personalization at scale in ways that we haven't really been able to before. But the things that we as humans will be drawn to are the things that make our lives easier, that make us laugh, make you smile, make you feel. And when we think about Bionic brands, like the tech, as we're moving into this AI era and with Agentic coming, the tech is not going away and it's going to continue to get better and sharper. But the winning marketers will understand like how to bring the humanity of your audiences, how to bring a human touch into the experiences and the interactions that you create into your world. So at the same time, you'll need to be more human and more technical as you're bringing all those forward. So what does that look like in terms of work? This is some work that we did with Bentley to try to help reinvent the car configurator. So I'll play this quickly.
The Bentley Inspirator is the world's first emotion recognition car configurator, available to download now on the App Store. Start your journey by positioning your iPhone or iPad camera directly in front of you. This allows the app to rapidly map your face, tracking over 77 facial micro-movements. The experience will begin with an interactive film. As you watch, the emotion recognition technology monitors your facial expressions across 4 key measures, meaning that the smallest of reactions can reveal your preference for modern, classic, or flamboyant experiences. Not only will this determine the narrative of the film from beginning to end, it will also culminate in the creation of a bespoke Bentley configuration based on your reactions. This means that every user inspires their very own individual journey and car. You'll also receive an in-depth personal digital brochure where you'll be able to explore the science behind your creation, as well as the emotional triggers that inspired your final Bentley. From here, you can further configure your car on BentleyMotors.com or with a dealer. The Bentley Inspirator, letting your emotions inspire a truly extraordinary car.
That work was actually done using an emotion detection API. That tech was available in 2014. That's when that case study is from. Right? AI has been around for a very long time. It's really like finding interesting ways and interesting applications that unlock ease or make things easier or better. We're doing work in categories like health to try to solve for things like pain identification. I'll play one last quick case, which is trying to do something called kid reviews. One of the great things about being in innovation at a creative agency is we get to make real the crazy stuff, crazy shit that our teams dream up. So this was designed to help identify like how laughter can be used to plan a vacation.
In the US, family vacations tend to look like this or like this, which is great unless you're the state of Tennessee and you don't have a beach or a famous mouse. So how do we convince parents that their kids will have fun in our little landlocked state? We prove it with the one thing every parent longs to hear. The sure sign that kids are having fun. Tennessee Tourism presents the Laugh Tracker, a wearable device that turns kids' laughter into travel advice for parents.
This is a laugh tracker. It tracks laughter by recording audio and GPS location, which it sends to a neural network that's home to about 214,000 audio files of laughter. If it finds a match, that's what determines a laugh.
We put them on hundreds of kids at 31 locations across Tennessee to gather data.
It basically can tell when you're laughing and see how much laughs you have.
How many giggles do you get?
A lot.
A lot of giggles.
A lot of giggles.
Over 2 million data points were analyzed, and 1.6 million seconds of laughter recorded. We published our findings online and developed a simple rating scale to show how much fun kids had, or maybe didn't have, at each attraction, and made laugh maps to show where the most laughter occurred, which parents could then filter by age. We're continuing to collect laugh data at attractions across the state, and some locations are even using it to improve the experience itself.
Using some of this data, you can see which are the popular rides with the people who care about them the most, which are the kids.
By creating a wearable device that measures laughter, we scientifically prove to parents what we've always known. Tennessee brings out the best sound there is.
So fun campaign, you can feel the humanity oozing from that, right? So I'll leave you with 3 thoughts. Like, as people, as you're moving through this, like, embrace AI. Like, start to explore how you can begin to use it in your day-to-day and your team's day-to-day, but balance artificial intelligence with emotional intelligence. 2, like, the best ideas, the best teams, and I say this in a clearly biased way as an innovation guy in an agency, are a blend of creativity and technology. Like, mix the geeks and the storytellers, like, invite the tech people to your worlds to help you solve those problems. And then as you're thinking about your company, as you're thinking about your brand, think about the ways that you can bring humanity into this. Like, absolutely embrace the tech. It's not going away. It will only get faster, sharper. So you need to bring it into what you do, but embrace the humanity. Those will be the things that differentiate your brand, your organization, your culture. They will differentiate you and help you stand out in the market. So thank you very much. Have a great Web Summit.